This is Christine Robinson from the Argus Foundation here with your local government report for the week of May 4th, 2020. The school board met last week and next meets Tuesday, May 19th at 8:30 a.m. with a school board work session and a 3 o'clock school board meeting. The Sarasota County Public Hospital Board has their next set of public meetings next week on Monday, May 18th at 8 a.m. They have 5 meetings scheduled that day. No agendas are available at this time. The City of Venice is next scheduled to meet tomorrow, Tuesday, May 12th at 9 a.m. On the agenda is a request by Mayor Feinsod to send a letter to the governor regarding COVID-19 testing. In the letter, he proposes drive-up testing to pharmacies and discusses the logistics of a drive-up test in detail. On April 24th, the Florida Surgeon General issued an emergency order that suspended requirements which required a pharmacist to be separately licensed in order to administer these tests, and also waived the provisions that would prohibit pharmacists from issuing such tests. Those actions on April 24th allowed pharmacies to order and administer COVID-19 tests. In light of that, it will be interesting to see where this discussion heads. Also on the agenda is an item added by Mayor Feinsod called, quote, discuss assisting businesses on West Venice Avenue, unquote. This idea is a short-term closure of eastbound West Venice Avenue to allow businesses to expand into the street in order to comply with new distance minimums. The idea originated from longtime resident and businessman Ed Taylor in an email to council on April 30th. Councilmember Chuck Newsom then forwarded the item on to Mayor Feinsod. This is a discussion item. There is no ordinance or resolution attached to the agenda. Finally, on the City Council agenda is a fiscal year 20 budget update. This item is a continuation of the last council meeting discussion where staff was directed to find more cuts to this year's budget. Venice is far ahead of all other governments on this issue and has been working on this since just after the lockdown started in March. Attached to the agenda is a 4-page memorandum that predicts a $1.1 million reduction in budgeted revenues due to COVID-19, or a 3.59% impact to the overall budget for this year. The 1-cent sales tax is expected to see a 13.54% hit for the year. That tax is used towards capital projects. Staff has identified a budget savings of almost 17% in capital outlay that includes delaying a project. Several other cost savings were also identified in the memo. The City of Venice Police Pension Board of Trustees will be meeting Wednesday at 1 p.m. There will be a virtual meeting for the Environmental Advisory Board Wednesday at 1 p.m. And the Historic Preservation Board will meet Friday at 9 a.m. and will meet virtually. The City of Sarasota has a workshop on Tuesday, May 12th at 5:30 and a special City Commission meeting at 6:30 via WebEx. The workshop contains 2 items, the first of which is a presentation on the Sarasota In Motion Citywide Transportation Master Plan. This is a 25-year plan that contains 10 specific projects, some of which include changing Main Street parking from angled parking to parallel parking, narrowing vehicle lanes on Fruitville Road from 41 to 301, and transit circulators. The second workshop item is a discussion on the Parks and Master Plan funding presentation. City staff has reevaluated the park stabilization projects from $5.2 million to almost $1.7 million due to current conditions. The $1.7 million includes improvements to the Children's Fountain and also Bayfront Park. There are 3 items on the special City Commission agenda. The first is to reallocate $1.3 million from the city's Economic Development Fund and almost $1 million from the CRA Fund for the Small Business Grant Program. The second and third items on the agenda deal with Bobby Jones Golf Course. The second agenda item is a restated agreement with the company that does the golf course maintenance services from the contract signed in January of this year. Bobby Jones has been closed since March 18th, but the vendor has still maintained the golf course. Now that the golf course is closed, Management and staff recommended not opening the course to begin the planned 27-hole golf course and nature park renovations to be completed in 2022. This agreement will have the maintenance company maintain the nature park, which is 118 acres. The city expects to save $1.6 million in the expense over the next 12 months. The third item is an agreement for golf course architecture for just over $1 million to implement the decision on the 27-hole golf course made by the City Commission in February. The City of Sarasota has canceled all advisory board meetings this week, including the General Employees Pension Plan Board of Trustees and Code Compliance hearings. The City of Northport has a meeting on Tuesday, May 12th at 10 a.m. There are several items on the agenda, including suspension of time limitations for living or camping in vehicles parked on residential lots. This will allow medical workers, first responders, and citizens who have been exposed to or are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms to self-quarantine in campers beyond 30 days on residential lots. There's a second reading on an ordinance on the maintenance of stormwater drainage areas, which lays out the property owner responsibilities to aid in the maintenance of a stormwater drainage area adjacent to their property. There is a first reading of an ordinance to transfer $50,000 from the general fund balance for an economic development feasibility study. The intent of this feasibility study is to provide for a study testing viability for certain specific targeted industry sectors and incentives for the City of Northport. The study outcomes are specifically related to increasing new business to the area, diversification of business, expansion of existing businesses, and adding higher wage jobs. Finally, there is a resolution to acquire real property. On April 23, 2007, the City Commission passed a resolution authorizing acquisition of certain real property along the Myakkahatchee Creek corridor for the purpose of preserving and enhancing the Myakkahatchee Creek as a Class 1 potable water supply and natural resource amenity. The property is a single-family residence and will cost the city $212,000 from a DEP consent order fund. Northport has canceled the Arts Advisory Board, the Charter Review Board, the Public Utility Advisory Board, and the Historic and Cultural Advisory Board. The Sarasota County Commission has their next meeting scheduled for Wednesday, May 20th, and a Commission budget workshop on Thursday, May 21st in downtown Sarasota. The county notes on its calendar that the MPO meeting for this week is canceled. That is the Argus Foundation Local Government Report for Monday, May 11th, 2020. Stay tuned to our Facebook and Twitter pages for updates, including posts with the Florida Governor's COVID-19 press conferences. Until our next update, be well.